Hello. How are you? It's me, it's Craig here at Flooded. Nice to see you again. To see you, nice. It's quite late. It's 11:20 on a Friday night, and I was just watching our dear friends on Friday Night Tights on YouTube, having the laugh that they have together on that show, and they started talking about The Mandalorian, and I gotta say that I started getting a little bit like I couldn't actually believe what I was hearing because it was so wrong what they were saying. Now, I don't know if you have enjoyed The Mandalorian yet, but I have. I am actually really liking it. I haven't seen Boba Fett, and I kind of lost interest in The Mandalorian for season 2. So I know that at the end of season 2, is it Grogu or Baby Yoda was handed over to Luke Skywalker, and for some reason is back. And I don't think that reason's revealed itself yet. I'm not like a massive geek head when it comes to stuff like this. I like Star Wars. I like Star Wars stories. I'm not fanatical about them. But when people start saying things about a show which is just wrong, it's kind of like interesting to me. So I've just watched The Mandalorian again. The first time I watched it through, I fell asleep. And I didn't fall asleep because it was boring. I fell asleep because I was extremely tired. And it's a bad idea to watch television at 11 o'clock at night when you've been busy all day, which is what I did. So I just dozed off. But I actually really enjoyed it. Something that I would say about the show is that I noticed it didn't seem to have a B story. It is literally following the Mandalorian going through a little journey where he is not taking his helmet off. And that I really like. One of the big years and years. And when I first saw Spider-Man come down upside down and they lifted his mask so he could do that kiss, I had a problem with it. Well, it was kind of like that should be the only time we see him remove his mask in front of another person. And he only half revealed his face. But since then, we have our masked heroes revealing themselves constantly. So it's very difficult to know when Iron Man has been Iron Man and when Iron Man has been, Stark. Completely forgot his name then. And I don't like it. The one thing I always liked about comic book heroes is that by day they were this, by night they were that. They were like just ordinary people with these extraordinary powers, and they had to be masked crusaders in order to exist in the world, or they would have been, arrested, or it's the way of making them a hero. With Superman, it was just the silliness of just having to put on glasses and a suit, and then changing his personality to be this bumbling buffoon. Which it's like everybody knows that it looks exactly like Superman, but you bought it, you believed it, and I really liked that. And I really liked how the Mandalorian never took his helmet off, and then of course the actor who does it gets so big and starts asking for more money. And becomes more important to the show. And then says, well, look, I need to act with my face. Can I show my face? And then eventually they give in and show his face. I bet the helmet will come off again. But really, I hope it doesn't. You kind of hope it doesn't. And I can understand from an actor's point of view, that's a massive shame. It's like, because really you could just do this with voice actors, right? Get really cheap actors to do. Well, all actors are relatively cheap. If you look at it, if you think about it, most actors are on less than what doctors and nurses are on, because most actors are on extremely low pay. Only a tiny percent make it to the big household name A-list variety of actor. Anyway, back to Mandalorian. I think so. It has this like a story going all the way through it. What he does is he arrives back on the scene from whatever he's been doing. We don't really know. I suppose if you've been watching Boba Fett, you know. I don't know. I've never watched Boba Fett, but I was quite happy for him just to turn up. There was a ceremony. The armorer was putting a helmet onto a kid, telling him that you never take this helmet off. Of course, we know that they do take their helmets off when they're on their own. They're allowed to do that. So there's plenty of opportunity for the kid to upgrade their helmet. And when you say don't take your helmet off, even if you have an upgrade, the helmet is always going to be yours. So it might be a different helmet, but it's still your helmet. So that's fine. That all makes sense to me. The Friday Night Tights team were laughing their heads off because they thought it was ridiculous that they give this helmet to a kid, and what's going to happen is his brain going to get squashed in it. They were joking. So that's fine, and then they get attacked by a big sea monster. I can maybe kind of share a little bit because let's see. So there's the armorer who's a woman. Now I noticed that Gary Bugler, called this character Girl Boss. I think he has a problem. The whole point I'm mentioning them is they have a problem with Disney, and understandably, Disney has done some terrible, terrible things, but you have to assess it from day to day, and it is a corporate organization. And if they start doing something that's good, you have to kind of acknowledge that. Mandalorian's good; it's a good show. And if he is annoyed that they've appointed a woman to have this position of power over men, which she doesn't, she's the armorer, then it's kind of bizarre because there are lots of female characters have like senior positions over men. Did he also have a problem with Jane? What's her name? Janeway. Is it Janeway? From Star Trek? Absolutely not. She was a brilliant character. And female characters in Deep Space Nine. Who's the one who was like with Odo? She was a strong, powerful character. There was loads of them, and they're everywhere, and it's fine. I understand that people are sensitive to this kind of thing now, and they're thinking it's intersectionality and it's wokeness, but it isn't always that. It's not always that. You have to understand the nuances of stuff and understand that the anger and hatred that you feel towards an organization like Disney, it's not as bad. They're not always going to be that bad. They're gonna go with whatever makes money. And I have no problem with this female armorer. I think she's really cool. Really cool, actually. Really good. Anyway, she makes they do like a recap at the beginning, so you can get caught up with everything. So everything's making perfect sense as far as I can tell. And they put the helmet on this kid, and then this big sea monster starts attacking. Look how massive it is. And it's awesome little fight sequence. I mean, it's just amazing for a TV show, seeing this. It's an excellent job. The show's called The Apostate. He says that he's removed his helmet. She says, well, you can't, you're an apostate then. And the only way you can redeem yourself is to bathe in the lakes beneath something or other in Mandalore. So he needs to go and find some lake. He gives this stone here. For some reason, that convinces her. And he sets off. And this has a lovely little sequence here where he's asleep. And he's at warp. And then these massive creatures appear. There he is in his ship. And these massive whale-like octopuses or whatever they are appear. Or is it just one? I don't know. And sort of is following them. We don't really know what that's about. Then he arrives at the town. And we meet all this color and character that's given to the town. It's really good. Really good. I loved it. I love it. and we see this this unit. I can't remember what's called, a B2 unit or something. This is the destroy robot, and then we meet this guy who's the magistrate, the high magistrate. So he keeps reminding everyone, and he's a little bit of comedy relief here. He's got these two little robots that follow him around, keeping his cape off the ground. And he's saying that the New Republic, the city's doing really well. There's construction going on everywhere, and he tries to talk Mandalorian Mandy into joining and staying in the city. He says, "No, no, no. I'm looking for this place to go and sort of repent." Meanwhile, there's little comic bits with the Grogu. And then we meet the pirates. Look at that. That's awesome. They look amazing. The costumes, the faces. This is superb. And he's British, of course, British accent, of course, because he's a baddie. And, you know, they have a bit of a showdown. They want to have a chat in this building, which used to be in the bad old days a gambling den, but now it's a school, and they don't want to do it, so everyone gets shot, and then they walk off, and the British one survives, tries to talk him into it again. He's now saying to him, "Oh, we need a marshal. We need a marshal for the town," and he says, "No, this droid here, that was the killer droid that helped me out in the first season. I want to bring him back to life and get him to help me." Not sure why. So they try and fix him, and they can't, because he just comes back to life and immediately starts trying to attack Grogu and kill Grogu. So they put him out of action, and then take him to these little guys who we saw in this, I don't know which Star Wars it was. So these cute little fellas who fix robots. And they can't fix him unless they get a new memory part. That's the doorway. And he's translating what they're saying, even though they're speaking English. And he says, "Right, well, come back when you can." And off they set. And of course, he's explaining the dials and the controls to the baby Yoda. And then the pirates appear. And they have a big, we've seen fights in asteroid belts before. And they have a big fight in the asteroid belt. And then we meet this guy who looks amazing. The whole show is so good.
Gorian Shard.
Look at him.
What a kind sentiment.
I love it. So, you know, we're seeing all this. And look at the ship and the design. And the whole show is just so good. And it's a simple story.
Asshole.
So eventually he just warps out of that situation, and then comes to this Mandalorian planet where there's a castle. For some reason, there's a blue droid just standing there on his own. But look at it. This is great. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. And they get out. And look at this fantastic design, this castle. And then they go inside. And, of course, there's her. Now, I can't remember her name. Let's see if I can get her name. In a minute, I'm going to... I film these live, so no editing. It's warts and all, I'm afraid. I'm trying to find out her name. I can't remember her name. But she's like Mandalorian, but she's taking her helmet off, and she's fed up, and she's despondent, and she's a rebel, and she thinks it's all nonsense. And she basically... Look, she's fantastic, by the way. For some reason, she's languishing in this castle. Now, I don't know why. Maybe I'll find out later on. I don't need to know at the minute. That might come... Was this something that was part of Boba Fett's story? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't bother me that I don't know why she's there. That's where she is. And God knows what she was doing there before he arrived. Just sitting there. Seems boring. She looks fantastic. And also completely different. I don't quite get it. I'm not sure what this head thing is with the lights. Don't know if this what the story is about that. Look at the battery. Look at the wear on her armor. So cool. And then he leaves her. He says, right, she tells him exactly where the mines are that he has to go to find the lakes. And then the show ends. So that is it. That's what happens in Mandalorian episode 1, season 3. It's really, really good. Now, the black guy, by the way, the black guy who's playing the High Magistrate, he is Cantona. Let me find out if I can find out. He is played by Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers used to be he's an American actor, and he's a former professional football player known for his role as a boxer. He was in the first 4 Rocky films. He was in Al Dillon in Predator, Happy Gilmore. Now, what's interesting is he's actually going to be directing, or has directed, episode 4 of Mandalorian. So well done to him, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. This episode was directed by somebody called Rachel Morrison. She is... what's she well known for? Let's see. She was a cinematographer on Black Panther. Okay. And she was, yeah, okay. So this is maybe her first directing credit. She's more cinematographer. I mean, it's interesting. And Jon Favreau wrote this episode. And he actually wrote or co-wrote every episode in season 3. Right. So there's the facts of what happens. Let's have a quick look at how our friends on Friday Night Tights, Nerdrotic and the gang, decided to talk about this show. It's astonishing. When I screen grab the whole thing. So I like to see how many people are watching. So this is to 13,000 people. The show's doing really well. They've really come on with this. And for me, it's I'm kind of bored of it. I flick into it just because I like to be informed about what's going on. But it's the same old stuff. You know, they're just saying the same thing over and over. Let's watch this.
Get it out of the way. Nothing happened. The end. It was task-oriented. Just okay, let's talk about Mandalorian first. Just get it out of the way. Nothing happened.
All right. So I'm going to keep pausing and commenting on this because look how angry Gary is. And you got a bit now, there's context to this. They hate Disney, right? They don't want Disney to do well. This is the background and the context to this. They can't stand Disney because Disney and understandably so, by the way. Disney is awful. They've done awful things, but they want everything that comes out of Disney to be bad. Let's see what else he says.
The end. It was task-oriented video game cutscenes with like.
He tweeted this out. So this is a line of script he's given himself. Task-orientated cutscenes from a game, computer game. It absolutely wasn't. What he means is there's no B story.
Stupid dialogue.
The dialogue was absolutely fine.
That was barely passable in a bad video game.
Nonsense. The dialogue was absolutely fine. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I think it's mental that he's saying that because it's fine.
It was boring.
It wasn't boring. It was actually really interesting. It was brilliant.
They completely. I mean, if you didn't watch Boba Fett, you have no freaking idea what's going on.
Absolute nonsense. They do a recap at the beginning, and I haven't watched Boba Fett at all, and I understood everything that was going on. The black lights or the dark lightsaber, I don't know about that, but you know, I can find out. I'll find out. There's like things happening all the time that rely on you. What episodes of Doctor Who? Like, if you don't know who the Daleks are, you're not going to understand some of the modern storylines that we get. If you don't know the history of Doctor Who, how are you supposed to? He never complains about any of that. He never complains about. I mean, there's that happens so often with all the Star Wars films. You had to have an understanding of things that had gone on before. You know, whenever we see, what about Luke Skywalker appearing at the end of season 2 of Mandalorian, and you get that massive feeling of, oh my God, it's Luke, it's Luke, look. And you wouldn't get that if you hadn't seen the original Star Wars or actually any, you have to have watched everything beforehand to get that feeling. He's had no problem with that, though. He had no problem with that. But he's got a problem with this because he hates Disney, and that's it. It's so bizarre that they're doing this line.
Yeah, like that's such a big fail in my mind.
It isn't a big fail. It's totally, you can totally, I mean, I might be wrong for the rest of the season. I've not seen it. Maybe they have. But so far, I'm following Mandalorian absolutely no problem.
These pivotal episodes in an entire another TV show. When people come into this season, they're going to be lost. Like, what the hell is going on?
You're not, and that's nonsense. And I'm actually finding it really bizarre that they're reacting in this way.
We shown a preview of him taking off his helmet, so
yeah, we did. We saw a preview of him taking off his helmet.
we understand why he has to bathe in the special Mandalorian juice.
Yeah, jizz and juice. See, what they're doing is undermining it now by making silly comments, calling it juice. He's got to go to the lakes and bathe.
Waters.
Which is like, I think Thor does that, doesn't he? He bathes himself in water. I'm sure there's been lots of stuff in comics about having to submerge yourself in liquid in order to, like be reborn or whatever. It's not like it's a new thing.
Which is
But they're just going to undermine it and mock it.
retarded. Like
Be
this
reborn.
religion
Retarded.
is annoying me already with how
He's annoyed.
stupid its
It's
dictates
stupid.
are. And
The
now,
Mandalorians
for
are freaking dumb.
redemption,
The Mandalorians are dumb.
They are dumb.
They're
For one,
dumb.
Never take off
Smirk.
your helmet, and then they make. Oh God, I'm freaking.
So he's about to talk about the kid with the helmet. You're never supposed to take your helmet off. Heels versus Babyface Az up there is about to point out that the Mandalorians do take off the helmets when they're on their own, and everybody knows that. But they're going to ignore it
The
for now
Quiz
because
is
to
the name
make
of
it
the
look
channel.
stupid.
He does this. We might. Hey, babe. What about when I show the video later? He does a kid, and then it's a kid it's a helmet
I
that's like
thought
he's going to grow out of, and they go, you can never take it off.
That's stupid. That's just, I don't know if he's deliberately pretending he doesn't know that Mandalorians do take the helmets off when they're alone. Just bizarre.
What about when I
Right.
after puberty? Like,
Was it-
can
Chrissy Mayer doesn't know anything about anything,
I
so
take it off then?
Maybe it's like
Symbolic,
a
okay.
Chinese foot binder. You just have to.
Az is going to speak up. Thank God, Az is about to speak up.
And they have a tiny little face.
They're all like
Baby
little babies. They all have little heads.
Mahler pointed it out yesterday. Like,
Mahler, I mean, if you haven't watched every episode of Friday Night Tights, you might not know who Mahler is. Oh, that's just how stupid Friday Night Tights is. They just assume you know who Mahler is.
the dark saber.
Nobody
like,
cares what
Eating in
Mahler
a
says.
window,
When he
an
was
open
looking
window.
out the window, and they could have just turned around and gone, "Ayo, Mando!"
But he
But-
was
but
looking
they
out
say
a
never
window
take it off.
where people could have seen him in the first season, dude.
He was
Like,
eating in a
Don't-
window,
When
an open
looking
window.
out the window, and they could have just turned around and gone, "Ayo, Mando!"
Hey,
what's
who's
up,
that?
Mando? What's up, bro?
Look at
Like the dark saber has to be, you have to get it in combat,
Gotta be
right?
dark.
And then he goes,
Yeah.
"What if somebody dies of a heart attack or dies in their sleep?" Like, when,
So what they're doing now is not talking about the show. They're just making jokes. It's good for them. They're having fun. But this is supposed to be a credible group of people who know what they're talking about and mock you if you don't know what you're talking about. And here they are, just totally going off the scale in terms of their ignorance about deliberate ignorance about something that Disney's doing because they hate Disney. I don't think Christy Mayer, she's a comedian. She doesn't really follow any of this stuff, I don't think. Although it looks like she's got a lot of toys on her shelves there. Black Garrett, he's on the payroll to do this. Disparu, I don't know much about him. See, I like apart from Az, I like all these guys sort of individually. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that tonight they did this and said this, and it is utter nonsense. The Mandalorian is fine. I'm looking forward to seeing the next episode. I'm also like a little bit interested in Picard again. Not massively. I'm going to watch the first 2 episodes again, back to back. The 3rd episode should have been delivered tonight. So I'll also watch the 3rd episode, and then I'll see if I can get into it in the fullness of it all being full. There's lots of stuff in Picard that relies on you having watched some of the previous episodes of Star Trek Next Generation. But of course, we don't hear anything about that from Gary, who doesn't complain about that. It's only shows from companies that he hates that we hear that as a criticism. So I'm just getting a little bit fed up. I think what I'm saying is that for Nerdrotics and the Friday Night Tights team, it's all wearing a little bit thin now, and they need to work on their credibility because it's getting a little bit cringe. But, you know, they're making money. The money's rolling in. They have a huge following. And it's going to be interesting when things start getting better, as they are definitely doing now, what their fans are going to do about that. Because people are going to be feeling, hold on, you've encouraged me to not like this for ages, and now you're telling me I've got to like it. And people are free to do, and they'll say, well, you're free to do exactly as you please. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. This is what happens when you get too political with your stuff. Right. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think of Mandalorian? What's going to happen in Mandalorian? I'm not sure when the next episode should exist. Is it tonight? I don't know. Tomorrow? It's Wednesdays, isn't it? Here. So we'll see what happens with that show. I might do a video about Picard. I'm not sure. All 3 episodes. I'm not sure. One thing I don't understand, the one thing that really bugs me about Picard is it's so dark. And it's almost, I have a hard time seeing what I'm doing in here when I make it dark. But I don't know how they see what the nerf is, what they're doing. Where is my stuff? Anyway, have a good one. Catch you again soon. Cheers. Bye-bye.